What the Butler said. This is episode 6. I'm Paramedic293, and I'm going to be bringing you another week of discussing things at TBOG and beyond. I'm going to bring you some gameplay of Dishonored 2 today. Give me just 5 seconds. Yep, okay, should be good. Alright, I'm going to be bringing you some gameplay of Dishonored 2 today. I am going to be half concentrating on this, so I apologise if the gameplay is really shit. This is a game that requires a bit of concentration, so I apologise in advance for that. I probably should say also that there's likely to be some spoilers. This is very early on in the game. This is the second chapter, so if you are interested in getting Dishonored 2 or you're playing through Dishonored 2 and you're worried about spoilers, then just, all I can say to you is just be careful. You're going in with a risk, and there's a possibility you might be spoiled. If you are, I'm sorry, I'm going to be held accountable because, I've already warned you. Anyway, just a little bit of housekeeping as usual. If you have any questions to ask me, please do ask me on the Discord chat. Do not comment on the YouTube stream, as I won't see it and I won't be able to reply to it. Just ask me on Discord, and as long as it's related to what I'm talking about, and as long as it's relatable to what I'm talking about, and as long as it's mature, I will answer it. So yeah, I just wanted to explain another thing. From this episode onwards, I'm going to expand beyond talking about TBOG stuff. Basically because I want to expand this show a bit more, and I want to talk about a bit more than just TBOG stuff now, because there's other topics I want to talk about, and I think they'll be more interesting to talk about. That, and there just isn't 3 things to talk about every week for TBOG. That's interesting. So I'm going to be talking about some other stuff this week, although I will try and keep it as relevant as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on the gameplay, and I'm going to first move on to my first topic, which is Game of the Year. Now, this is the 3rd year of this console generation, and
this should take me out to the
it's been a bit of a weird one in terms of really good games. And I know there's been a lot of differing opinions on this, there generally always is, but the first year I think we can all agree was absolute and utter shite. It was just, there was barely anything that stood out. There were so many disappointments. This was the year of the first Watch Dogs game, this was the year of Thief, this was the year of just, so many bad things. There was a few gems in the rough. There was Shadow of Mordor. Personally, I quite liked that. There was Dragon Age Inquisition. There was a decent game, and maybe a little bit overrated. But, overall they were diamonds in the rough, and overall it wasn't a very good year. In contrast, however, 2015 was a damn good year, and I have just walked straight into that. Yep. Like I said, I've not been playing very well. Oh god, oh god. So yeah, Get it back here, black guy. Haha, he's dead. Alright, anyway, yeah, so the next year, that 2015 was a very good year. We had, there was some questionable games, but on the whole, I think there were some brilliant ones there. The Witcher 3, which won most of the Game of the Year awards, was fantastic. That was a great game. I mean, there's so many of you here who haven't played it, and I really think you should. There's a lot of Skyrim fans here who haven't played it. It's play Witcher 3, it's such a good game. It's just brilliant in every way. It's so good. There were other things. There was Bloodborne. Obviously, you all know how much I love Bloodborne. It's an absolutely amazing game, so well made. Any other year it would have won so much more, but, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And then there was a few, questionable ones. Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, they're good games, but one could question their quality. Just because, I know a lot of people think MGS5 is a half-finished game. It is a half-finished game. I'm not going to argue with that. And Fallout 4, well, the more I think about it, the more I realise it was a bit of a disappointment. And, yeah, but overall, I think it was a very, very good year for gaming. I'm just going high chaos at the moment, honestly.
Maybe I can drag.
Some of these kills are just absolutely hilarious. Oh god, I'm getting destroyed.
Some like you since you won't get away! Oh! Somebody's down!
This game is just so fun in high chaos mode. It's so funny. It means I'm going to get a really shit ending at the end of the game, but you know what? Oh, that's cowardly. I can't go through there. Wait. Die. Die. Ah, god damn it. It stops bullets as well. Where was I? Yeah, okay, yes. But this year, on the other hand, has it been good? Has it been bad? Could I even really say? I don't know. This has been a bit of a bizarre year. I mean, there's been really highly rated games, but, like, have any of them really stood out? You know, other than Overwatch, which it's like, I'll get to that later. Have any of them really stood out as like, oh my god, this was a really amazing game? I'm not really getting the same feeling with the big games this year as I did with The Witcher 3 and Bloodborne. They're just... stuff like, let's say, for example, Battlefield 1. It's a great game, and it's way better than I expected it to be, but it's not a game of the year. Overwatch, like I said, I'll get to that later. Stuff like... Uncharted 4. It's a great game. It is a really good game. Technically amazing. I found very few bugs and glitches with it. It's a great story and everything, but to me it just didn't stand out. It was the same as every other Uncharted game, and in that regard,
Anyone here?
it just wasn't that enjoyable to me. What? No. Actually, sorry. That's a stupid thing to say. It was enjoyable, but oh god. Yeah, it was enjoyable, but. Like, to be a game of the year, I don't think so, quite frankly. I don't think I could call it that. That was a very long range kick. You know what, I'm struggling to even think of other candidates this year. I mean, even game of the year, like the Game Awards, I think the nominees were very questionable. Like Doom, like... No, okay, I didn't own Doom, but like, was it a Game of the Year candidate? I mean, really? From everything I heard, it was like, it was good, it was serviceable, but nothing like amazing. And the fact that that's the sort of game that's getting nominated for Game of the Year is just kind of like, okay, well, what does that say? What does that say about this year in general? But, look, I've got a really blocked nose. That's probably why I might sound a bit stuffy. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so moving on to the dark horse in the room, elephant in the room. Why the fuck did I say dark horse? That was a really bad link. Yeah, the other one, Overwatch, which did win the Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and it's a fucking amazing game. I mean, it really is. But I thought I had my pistol out. Yeah, that's an amazing game. It's just so well designed. Now, with all that in mind, it is a really well designed game. It's a really great game. Graphically, it looks amazing. The gameplay's tight and beautiful, and it's reasonably well balanced. There's variety of characters. It's a great game. But it's lacking in content. I think we can all agree with that. Even 6 months later, they've added extra shit, but you know, it's just there's not much content. You know, and to that regard, I never really thought of it as a Game of the Year sort of game, but just because of that. Although I've kind of reviewed my opinion on that recently. I kind of thought, well, you know, does a game need to have lots of content to be a Game of the Year? You know, is that a requirement? Does it have to be a game that like has a really lengthy single-player campaign, or can a game just stand on its own 2 feet and just like do what it wants to do and then win that way? And the answer to that, I think, is yes. I believe it very much can do that.
I'll search with you.
So, my pick would be Overwatch, you know, for all that. I mean, my opinion may change the more I play this. This was a Game of the Year nominated game. For many people, it came a bit too late to be really considered.
Have a look. Holy shit!
Oh, God. Yeah, for many people, it came a bit too late to be considered, but for me, personally, you know, at this stage, I'm just going to say Overwatch is my Game of the Year. And despite my previous reservations over whether it even counts, I can't think of any other game that really trumps it. I enjoyed Uncharted 4, but it just didn't really resonate with me. And I just kind of thought, you know what, it's a great game, and I can recognise that on a technical level. It is really good, but it's very forgettable to me. And that's just me. I mean, the story's great. I couldn't really ask much more than that. But to me, just very forgettable. So that raises the further question: what is the legacy of this year going to be? I mean, like I said, the first year was crap of this console generation. The second year was great. This year, somewhere in the middle. But I don't even know if somewhere in the middle is an apt description. Because, like, is it in somewhere in the middle? I just kind of feel like it's just a weird year in general for games. Where there were really highly rated games, but they're just, like, forgettable at the end of the day. And it's just stuff like Dishonored 2, Watch Dogs 2, what was the other thing? Something else came out in November. There were just a bunch of games coming out that were getting really high review scores, but they, like, they just forget, and everyone's forgotten about them already, pretty much. And I don't know. I don't really know what more to say about it. It's just a bit of a confusing situation, really. Try and sleeve dart this guy.
Hard times. Gotta be on the lookout.
Oh.
Who did this? Huh? Well, they can't be far.
So yeah, so yeah, what's the legacy of this year going to be? It's going to be, to me at least, questionable. For some, I think they will view it as an amazing year, like absolutely incredible, but for others, I think, like, for me, this is going to be a very forgettable year. That ultimately I'm going to, like, look back on and think, well, what really happened? Overwatch was great, but, I mean, what else was there? I mean, I don't know. I mean, do let me know your guys' opinion on the matter, because I feel like I'm the odd one out here in regards to this opinion. But I just feel like there's just not really been anything that stood out. And ultimately, there was, like I said, highly rated games that just weren't worth much, in my honest opinion. They're just forgettable. Anyway, I am repeating myself quite a bit, so I am going to move on to my second topic. This is actually a bit of a weird one. So I recently saw a video. I don't know if this video, I mean, I'm sure it was legit, but there was a video that I popped up on Facebook for me, and it concerned eSports and their attempt to get into the Olympics. And I thought, this is an interesting topic to discuss. As any of you know me, I love the Olympics, and I mean the real life ones, not the TBOG ones, although I love those as well, obviously. I really enjoy them. I watch them to death when they turn around, and I really enjoy, like, the atmosphere and the positivity of the whole thing. It's so much fun. It probably helps that Great Britain does really fucking well, and I just really enjoy seeing Great Britain succeed. But do esports belong at the Olympics? And overall, I don't really think they do. Now, as a gamer, I support esports more than most, and but I feel like they have their niche. Like, they have a place where they belong, which to me is like at what they're doing right now. They've got their audience, and I don't really think they need to expand into the Olympics, because it's just, I don't really think the Olympics is the right place for that sort of thing. And, like, could you really imagine, like, the likes of, like, Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt rubbing shoulders with, Mortal Kombat X players? It's just, like, I just couldn't picture it. Maybe it could work out perfectly fine, and, like, maybe they could slot right in. But to me, it just, I don't know. I'm not downgrading their skills at all. They have plenty of skill, and, like, there's no way I could do what they do. It's just, like, they are amazing, and the levels of commitment they put into it, especially like the ones like the South Koreans, they put in so much effort. But it brings up that age-old question: what is a sport? Like, what do you have to be to qualify as a sport? And that's to me, that's a debate for a whole other time. I don't want to get into that right now. But in regards to this, I just couldn't picture it myself, and I don't think it would be very popular either. Like, maybe, like, people would be a bit uneducated on the matter, but I couldn't imagine it being very popular next to athletics and swimming and cycling. It just, I don't think people would tune in for it, apart from the niche crowd that it has, which is the gaming, the gaming society, which is relatively small compared to what the most of the Olympics gets. Like, the big events can get tens of millions of viewers concurrently across the world, but I couldn't imagine any more than like a couple of 100,000 turning in for the esports shit. It's like, I just couldn't picture it myself. I mean, do let me know what you guys think. Because obviously I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think this is definitely something that is worth discussing, because it's quite, like I said, it's just, it intrigues me, the idea of it, and if it did get, I'd still watch it, I'd be quite happy to watch it, it'd be quite interesting, but it's just, I just think it's an interesting topic, and we should to have a talk about. Alright, I've been sent a question by the looks of it. First off, Cal's gave his opinion. He agrees. He says the game's not at the place in the Olympics. He's fine with acknowledging it as a competitive thing, but not there. Basically what I said, I mean, like I said, I think it's got its niche, it's got its place, but I don't think it has a place at the Olympics. Right, Max, I want to see esports go Olympics, so I can see Season Park when it gold medal with Pachirisu. I have no idea what any of those words mean, so I'm just going to move on. Okay, that's about it. Yeah, so, another thing I wanted to mention in that regard is there are a lot of... Okay, I'm going to use this term very loosely, please don't butcher me for it. Actual sports, quotation marks, that have been trying to get into the Olympics for years, decades, and haven't been able to. The one that comes to mind most of all to me is squash. As far as I'm aware, that's been trying to get to the Olympics for, since forever, but they haven't been able to. There's more being added every time. Golf and rugby were both added in the last ones, and in Tokyo they're adding surfing, skateboarding, karate, climbing, and what was the other one? There was something. Oh, baseball, and softball, which they kind of count as one thing. So yeah, they're adding new ones every now and then, but there's plenty out there that I would think would deserve a place far before esports. I mean, I would argue even something like snooker or darts would have a place over esports. They just feel like they fit in more to me. They just have a place as far as I'm aware, as far as I'm concerned, whereas esports doesn't. It's just. But like I said, they can work their way in there. The Olympics is a very open thing. They're always willing to try new things, and I do think, given time, and if people gave it a good chance, they could give it a go. I mean, people didn't really want golf back at the Olympics, but when it did, it proved really popular. And it worked out really well, but it's a traditional sport. Everyone knows golf. It's it's quite a popular thing. It's quite well known around the world. Esports isn't. So I am playing this game really poorly. Grenade!
Time to collect
So yeah, I don't know what else to say on that really. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah, that's my opinion. I just don't think it has a place. But if it does get in, I will watch it, and I'll be happy to watch it. I think it would be a lot of fun. But it has its niche, it has its place. That is a really creepy face right there. It has its niche, it has its place, and I don't think it's at the Olympics. I think it's great where it is, and it doesn't need to be at the Olympics. So, well, that's my 2 cents on that subject anyway. Alright, I've been tagged in something else? Again, no idea what he's talking about, so I'll just skip that. Alright, so this is going to probably end up being a pretty short show at this rate. So the third final thing I wanted to talk about was... well, we're returning to TBOG for this.
I'm not in the mood. Show yourself.
I want to talk about our leagues and the state they're in, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a concerning one. Now, when I last spoke about our leagues on this show, I was very positive. We were in a very good place, and there was they were doing very well. But at the moment, I wish I could say the same now, but I can't. They're doing very poorly. all of them. Now, the Cards Against Fantasy League has since then disbanded. That's cancelled. I think we can all agree that was for the best. You know, I don't think it was ever really going to succeed in the first place, but, you know, that's over and done with and fine. But my hopes for the Last of Us and Pokemon Leagues were very high. But given recent events, I am concerned for the future of both of them. We'll start off with The Last of Us, because that's the more simple one. It's just kind of died. And I fully blame this on people who just couldn't get their act together and get their games done, because me and Radek did our first game. You know, we did ours. We made sure we got it done properly, but there's been ample opportunity for the other games to happen, and just no one's done anything with them. You know, they've just like put it off and put it off and put it off. I recognise there was a few issues, like Gabe did his like hiatus, and like we had to wait a little bit, but on the whole, I think people have been very lazy. They've just like they keep talking about it, but they just don't do it. And at this stage, I've got to concede that it's probably dead. Like, I mean, I can't envision any scenario now where it's actually still going to happen. Because, like, just no one's just bothered anymore. And I think most people have actually forgotten. There's probably a few people who are watching this and think, oh yeah, there's a Last of Us League going on, and they're just trying to remember that. And, yeah, it's KIA as far as I'm concerned now. I'm not in charge of the league, that's Jack's territory, so I can't officially declare it dead. And it's up to him whether he wants to declare it dead or not, but it's just, at this stage, I don't see much point in keeping it going, because it's... Like I said, the interest just isn't there anymore. No one seems interested. Now, the Pokemon League. Now, this is probably where I'm going to stir up a bit of a hornet's nest, but Cal seems to be in denial about this, but to me, like, you know, look at the recent attendance records and the performances, and it's been diabolical, to put it lightly. I mean, how much have we struggled to get anybody to turn up? It's been so bad. Like, I mean, the last game we had was 2 fucking people. 2 people turned up. And because that had already been delayed by a week, that means they had to do it like that. They couldn't wait any further because it was just getting ridiculous to wait. So Toboy and Cal had to do it. Because they didn't have any other choice, really. And if it's getting to that point, I think we're in a very... You know, we're in a very... bad situation in regards to this league. Now, I would have been willing to write that off if the next game had happened, but it hasn't. It was put off. It's been delayed again. A league should not be suffering this many delays if it's supposed to be active. And like I said, Cal seems to be in denial about this, but I just think it's bad. It is really bad, and like, the Pokemon League was meant to be quite active. I was really hoping would be getting a lot of activity, people would be interested, especially after the Olympics. People were really interested in playing Pokemon. They wanted to keep playing. They were really interested in building their own teams. But now, even before the ones that do happen, all I'm seeing is I've thrown my team together last minute, like I haven't tested it. It's like, compare that to the commitment for the Pokemon players during the Olympics. They were like, oh yeah, can I test the team now? I'm going to make a few adjustments, we'll test it again. And then, like, you know, every couple of days it was like, oh, I've made adjustments to my team, I've added more. You know, and like, I loved that. The enthusiasm was great. People wanted to get into it, people wanted to give it their best go. But now it's like I said, they're just like, oh, like, you know, I'm going to throw it together last minute and just hope, you know. But like, yeah, I'd be willing to write that off if it was just a one-off thing, but it hasn't been a one-off thing. It's been happening very consistently. And even right from the beginning, like right from the very first game, and if this is the case, if we're struggling if we are struggling that much to get people to turn up and to even like put like a shred of effort in, then I mean, what position is the league realistically in if that's the case? I mean, I don't understand how people can deny. I don't understand how people can deny this poor state, because that's exactly what it is. It's a poor state.
That sounded like broken glass.
It's just, like, I'm not part of Pokemon League, so I can't really help myself. But I think those of you who are in the Pokemon League need to address this situation, and you need to deal with it before the league dies. Because if you keep ignoring it like this, the league is going to die. That's exactly what's going to happen. And you guys need to get on this. You need to start thinking of different ways you can attract more people in. I would, if I had to make a suggestion, I would say do less episodes, less games in the league, knock it down to about 8 in total or something, and put more space between them. Do like every 3 weeks maybe, or every month. Because at this point, like, if the commitment levels are that low, give people more time. You know, give them more time to build their teams, give them more time to be interested, and just like constantly remind them. Go like, oh, remember we got a Pokemon game this weekend. You know, we got a Pokemon game next, like we got coming up. Like, so just do you want to test your team, etc., etc. So just just that's the best advice I can give right now. But you've got to do something, because if you keep up going like this, I don't think the Pokemon League is going to reach its conclusion. And I think it's going to go the same way as the Last of Us League, and people will just forget about it. And I don't want that to happen, because it has a lot of potential, and it should work, but it's just not. Let's be fair about this. So please, guys, do something about it. Do get on it, and hopefully you can 670. Hopefully you can salvage it from the position that it's in. That's the leagues we've been doing right now, so that covers both of our current leagues. I don't really have anything else to say in regard to that, unless anyone can think of anything. I feel like we should be coming up with new ideas for leagues, though. I mean, if these ones aren't working, then I do think we need to be adding new ones, because I think leagues really do work. When they work well. You only had to look at the Board Game Online League to notice that. I mean, towards the end, yes, we weren't getting as many players as we were to begin with, but the story of the league, and the rivalry between Black and Jack, it made people talk. It was interesting. It was engaging. And even if people weren't participating, they knew what was happening because it was fun to listen to and fun to hear about. And it worked really well in that regard, but nothing since then, and we've attempted various leagues since then, has worked on that level. And that's quite sad to me, because I think when it works really well. And we need to keep trying at it, even if we're failing constantly getting a new league to work. We need to keep trying, because eventually we're going to hit a gold mine, we're going to hit something that people want to play, and we're going to hit something that people want to play competitively, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Thought I was going to explode. So yeah, we'll eventually get there. If I don't have any suggestions as to what league to do right now, I mean, let me have a think about it. I see if Overwatch 1v1/3v3 was actually that's not a bad idea. I prefer to do 1v1, but it's entirely possible we could make 2 teams of 3 in Overwatch and do a league like that, like we've done with The Last of Us. And every couple of weeks we meet up and we play a few matches together, and whoever wins goes through. I actually think that could be really fun. We could balance it out so that I'm on one team, Blonde is on another, and we could try and keep the teams as balanced as possible. But I think that could work. That could be a lot of fun. I would prefer the 1v1 setup, but at the moment, as it stands, you can't actually play with your friends in 1v1. So obviously we can't do that one, as much as I would love to. I hope they add that soon. That's going to be a lot of fun, especially before the next Olympics. I do really want to do that. Any other ideas? None are springing to mind.
What was it?
There was one me and a few others were discussing maybe an Age of Empires 2 league, or not necessarily a league, but a competitive scene for it. Just because there's a fair bit of interest. Okay, I've just noticed something. I thought no one was talking, but it appears that my thing just didn't auto-scroll down. So a lot of people have been talking, and I haven't noticed. Let me just catch up on what people have been talking about. Let me... oh, I've got such a blocked nose. Almost there. Yeah, it doesn't really look like anything that's worth bringing up right now. So yeah, I can't think of any other league ideas right now that I think would be particularly engaging or accessible. But get thinking, guys. Get thinking about ideas that we could do, and just let me know as soon as you come up with any ideas. Like, just think about what game. Like, is there a game or like something we could do that at least 4 people could do? Will it be engaging? Will people actually want to do it competitively? Will it work well? Is it fair? Just think about things like that. Seriously? Seriously, that didn't kill them? It's a grenade! How did it not kill them? It's a fucking grenade! What the fuck? Oh, whatever. So yeah, just think about what's fair, what's interesting, and just come up with ideas. Send them to me when you've come up with ideas, and we'll see about getting them started. Just be reasonable about it. Don't come up with something stupid and like I don't know.
That's a watchtower.
I don't know. Just I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe if I wasn't feeling this way, I probably could. But yeah, just any ideas you've got, just send them to me, and we'll think about setting them up. But be careful about what ideas you suggest. What? Oh, it's so blurry. It's so red. What the fuck? Other than that, that's kind of exhausted my topic list of what I wanted to talk about. Unless there's anything else anyone can specifically wants me to talk about, and they can specifically think of. My topic list is quite short this week. I don't know. Next week I'm going to do an episode, like, it's not like a special episode like I did last week, but I'm going to talk about, like, TBOG's year in review, like 2016, because that'll be the last episode of this calendar year, and the last one before 2017, so I'll talk about what our year's been like, and, like, the notable things we've done, like, the stuff to look forward to next year, etc., and, like, so I'll spend a lot of time talking about that next week, and, hopefully you tune in for that, because that'll be interesting. At the beginning of 2017, the first one then, which is 2 weeks from now, I will talk about, well, 2017. I'll talk about what's coming up, what to look forward to. We've got the anniversary, the second Olympics, new leagues coming up, etc., just stuff that we have to look forward to in the new year, and, you know, hopefully whet your appetite a bit for what's coming. So yeah, bang on, awesome shit. Yeah. Trying to think of any housekeeping before I head off. We haven't got any events planned this weekend because obviously it is Christmas weekend. There is going to be a quiz night next week though. We don't know what day yet, but I believe Towboy is going to be hosting, because this was one of the things he picked for his flavour of the month games, so we will be doing that at some point, and we will obviously be keeping you up to date as and when that happens, and obviously any of you can join, because it'll be happening on Discord. It's open to everyone, so do feel free to come along and do that. It's the first one since the Olympics. Radek is the current king. Come and take his crown from him if you dare. If you can. What a... Towboy also wants to do a Spite event at some point on PC. It's going to be on PC. I just said that, didn't I? It's going to be on PC. He hasn't organised anything yet, but obviously once he does, I will let you know. And he'll let you know, and we'll organise that. It will be before the end of the month. So if anyone, obviously it's free to play, so you can get into that if you want and set it up. I've really stopped caring about this playthrough. So yeah, just wait for tunes on that. otherwise, nothing else is coming up right now because it's a bit of an odd time of year for events, really. So that pretty much concludes it. I'm sorry this hasn't been a particularly enthralling episode. Like I said, I'm not feeling great, and I've just come back from work, and because I'm tired, and like this, that's been reflected in my gameplay. I've not exactly been putting in much effort, and yeah. Apologies for that. Next week, hopefully, things should be back to normal, and I should have much more to talk about. I'll be more enthusiastic about it. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. As always, I will see you hopefully next Tuesday for the next episode. Other than that, thank you for tuning in, and see you later.